Let's Talk Mental Health live stream. As always, keep in mind that I am not a professional. If you need immediate attention for your mental health, please reach out to a licensed professional or go to the nearest emergency room. You can also call a hotline. I always list those in my video descriptions by country. I have a link that lists them by country. But we're here just to check in. I will share my experiences. I will listen to you guys. And we're just going to have a conversation because I believe that's very important to the mental health world, is just talking about it. That's how we shatter the stigma, is normalizing it. Any pledges made for the super chat or super sticker function will go toward my mental health outreach. Every single dime that I make doing these goes toward my mental health outreach. If you want to make sure that I see your comment, use that super sticker function, because sometimes there's just so many I can't keep up with all of them. And again, you can always request songs using that super chat feature. Look, we already have our normies in here. Not that you're normal, but it's normal for you to be here. I just want to be clear. I don't want to insult you by calling you normal. But it has been quite the week. Is everyone else having a crazy week? Because I am having kind of an insane week. And it's been a bit challenging. I'm not going to lie. It's been a bit of a challenge for my sanity. Most notably, my lovely cherub of a child, my 11-year-old son, decided that it was a good idea to scoop a bunch of sand from this big area that we have in the backyard and put it in the pool. And now we are facing really huge repair bills that I was not prepared for. And that has been very stressful. I also had my doctor tell me that my last couple appointments weren't covered. So insurance, for whatever reason, didn't cover them. So I have really high co-pays. I'm like, it's not a co-pay though if my insurance didn't cover it at all. So it was one of those weeks where obviously I'm needing to channel into how to best navigate this and move forward. So I have to take a deep breath. There's some kind of energy surrounding finances right now that I need to focus on, and I might need to reevaluate some things. But I'm not going to lie, it's been quite overwhelming. And then trying to figure out how, as a parent, to teach a good lesson while not yelling or getting upset or losing control myself. I don't want to lose control of my bus. And on top of this, I ended up getting a call from my son's principal earlier this week that there had been some issues and that he thought it would be appropriate for us to have the birds and the bees talk. And while I am not shy, I've definitely been easing him into it. We had to just rip off the Band-Aid and have the entire talk about puberty and sex and all of these things that I've been dreading since he was born, pretty much. But it went really well, actually. And I'm happy to announce that he took it really well. He was curious. He did have some questions, but for the most part, it went over really good. I think that he learned a lot. He got more perspective. And I just felt like there was a lot of growth going on there for all of us. So it was a really good night for moving forward. Thanks, David, for noticing the eyeshadow. Oh, yes! Just some awesome person. Yes, I'm so happy to see that you changed it. This was always just some random person. I said, no. You can't do that here. You are not just some random person. Yes, Angelic, I did enjoy the story. Thank you for sharing. Like I said, that last scene with the 3 roses really brought me to tears. And I will actually post a picture over on the community that will let you understand why. And I think it'll be meaningful for others to look at as well, especially those here that know my backstory and know some of the things that I have been through. You'll see why that hit so hard. It's been a crazy week for just some awesome person too. I had a lot of work to do, get back on schedule from just being sick. Well, I hope that you're feeling better now. I feel like everybody's been getting some kind of virus or sickness that's been going around, because most people I know have been sick within the last couple of weeks. Lee Wesley says, my mom and I have been worried for the last few days about my brother because he's been having severe exhaustion. Have they figured out what's going on? Because exhaustion can be so many things. Fatigue is the main symptom for pretty much everything. So it's really hard to figure out what's going on. I know that quite often, if it's a high stress situation, this person's constantly in high stress, waking up even after a good night's sleep and still feeling tired, it can be a sign of adrenal fatigue. Again, I am not a doctor, but that may be something to look into, unless obviously they have found something else as an underlying condition. I'm doing good. Yes, I am doing good. How's your day going so far? You look great with the makeup. Thank you. I said in my day in the life of vlog that this is my blue crystal eyeshadow, and a lot of people here just love it and have requested it a couple times. So I thought it was time to bring it back. Interestingly enough, when I mentioned the product that is sold on Breaking Bad, when I mentioned the actual name for it, one of my videos got flagged. I said, "Really? I could talk about all of these other things, but I use a name for a fake drug on a fictional show, and that's where you draw the line, guys? Really? Somebody reported that?" But it's Blue Crystal now. Mm. Oh, this is so good today. I always tend to get a different taste because I don't measure stuff very often. So stuff always kind of just has tends to have a different taste. Philip Weaver says he just turned the big 5. Oh, happy birthday, Philip. George, hi. I'm so happy to see you. I know that last week was a big challenge for you. I'm glad that we could band together and help out. I hope that you're feeling better this week, or that we can continue to build you up, because that's what this community is for. It's nice and hot today, Lou says. Are you insane? Come to Arizona. You won't be saying that in the middle of summer. Metal Mark, you're right. YouTube is fickle. I've seen them flag stuff over the weirdest things, but then these really inappropriate videos that have a lot of imagery that could be violent or disturbing don't get anything at all. That I don't understand it, but kind of got to work with it. Sometimes you got to play the game. Matthew Martin says, I got through Monday with all happiness with the anniversary of my attempt. It didn't bother me at all. Congratulations. I'm glad that you've made it through to that anniversary. And I know we haven't started the Snap Cup yet, but snaps for you for getting through that and for finding happiness in it. Oh, Ed S is Breaking Bad. I'm still not feeling it, struggling to get through episodes. Well, I'm not going to force you. I mean, we just can't be friends. I'm just kidding. Oh, yikes. Just some awesome person says, thanks, I'm a lot better now. Just a bit tired. 12 hours of work a day was a short day this week. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Yes, enjoy the weekend. You deserve it after that. So I want to start off with a good news story, as always. I saw this, and as a survivor of sexual assault, it made me happy that the rest of the world is really jumping on board to move forward and stop exploitation and change their laws to reflect equality and individual body anatomy. So this was very exciting to me. Joyous Indonesia passes bill outlawing sexual abuse and forced marriage. The wide-ranging legislation, which comes amid a rise in such cases, is heralded as a victory for all women. Indonesia has passed a landmark bill that for the first time outlaws forced marriage and sexual harassment. To tears and cheers from supporters in the gallery, on Tuesday, the House of Representatives passed the long awaited legislation that criminalizes 9 forms of sexual violence, including physical and verbal assault, harassment, forced sterilization, and exploitation. The new law includes 15-year prison sentences for sexual exploitation, 9 years for forced marriage, and 4 years for circulating non consensual sexual content. It also stipulates that a court must compel convicted abusers to pay compensation to victims who must also be offered counseling. This is awesome to me because I know in a lot of other countries they aren't as as advanced as we are, they are still kind of behind when it comes to these laws, when it comes to just their view on women, on the LGBT community, on sometimes minorities and stuff. It really just depends on the area, but I'm always so happy to see other areas moving forward as well. So this was really awesome for me to read this morning. I pretty much only read good news now. I check up on major events maybe once or twice a week. Most of the stuff I find out I get from other people. My friends will fill me on major happenings in the world, and I found that to be pretty effective for me because I feel like if I watch the news, it's just so draining. Unless there's something I could do about it, I just don't need to have that shoved in my face all the time. And Angelic Storm says, Thai commercial, my dad is a liar. Try not to cry reaction. Okay, I will get on that. Thank you for that suggestion and for the super chat here. Like I said, all of those do go toward the mental health outreach. And May is going to be insane. So I'm very happy that the last day of this month, I get to say it's going to be May because I have so much planned and you guys are probably going to be as exhausted as I am by the end of the month, but we're going to have fun and we're really going to push some things forward. So I have huge goals for next month that I am really, really excited to share. And I think that you all are going to be excited with me. So I will be announcing those on the 1st of May. But I will be sharing a little bit of information beforehand. But all of these pledges are going to be going toward that big project, and we are this close to getting to announce it. And I've been looking in the mirror and literally practicing how I'm gonna announce it. It's one of those things. It's like when you tell someone you love them for the first time, you practice it. I actually do that even when I'm just ordering a tea or something. I always have to kind of practice what I'm going to say before I get up to the window. Otherwise, my brain freezes a little bit and I'll end up saying something stupid. Even it should be so simple, but it can be so anxiety inducing if I don't have a plan in my head for what I'm going to say. We're all day by day. You're right, David. I know that that might seem overwhelming, but it's actually the best way to live is just day by day. Lee says the doctors are finally getting me on the right medication for my epilepsy after the neurologist at the hospital told the doctors to help me because I end up back in a hospital bed because of them. I am glad that they're finally managing that. I know that not having the right medication can just be a nightmare, or having the wrong doses of the medication, if it's mental health related, if it's an antidepressant or whatever the case is. Medication can just be so fickle as well. So I'm glad they're getting that worked out. Life of Nate says, back in April of 2019, I tried to down a bottle of pills. Fortunately, they weren't enough dosage to do anything. So ever since, I've been improving on all fronts. I'm so happy for you. I'm really, really happy that you're still here. And I'm proud of you for growing and improving and pushing past that, whatever had brought you to that point. I'm hoping that you're moving through that, not past it, but through it. And it seems like you're using it to grow. And that's great. I'm proud of you. That floor mat or whatever's behind you is awesome. Thank you. It is. It's got a wolf on it. It's kind of padding because I do yoga in here. So I'll put my yoga mat on top of it and it's a little bit of extra padding. And it helps with some of the echo and reverberation in here. So I love it. No, John, that's not a thing in the US. Forced marriage isn't as much of a thing here. This one was in Indonesia. I had to look again so I didn't get the country wrong. It was in Indonesia. So fortunately, that's not much of a thing. And then I see David's comment of, where's my money? Where is my money? Where's my money? But I can't throw it in there and it hurts. I can't end it how it should be ended because YouTube will end up censoring this video as well. We need these videos. We need to be on here. Metalmark actually, he says, hard to find just good news. There's actually an app for it. I use Squirrel News, and that's where I get my good news stories that I share. And it is nothing but good news about advancements that we're making and organizations and initiatives that people are starting to move us forward. So Squirrel News, guys, check it out. Because I think that news is just as important as the things that the mainstream media wants to share. Oh, Michael Jarrett says, hello and cheers to everyone on this Friday. Cheers, hello. Hope you are all happy, safe, and healthy. I've struggled this week with inner turmoil, but I always love to give positive energy in spite of it all. Well, I hope that we can give some positive energy back to you. Just know that no matter where you are in your healing journey or in your mental health journey, there are going to be bad days and bad weeks. And the important thing is knowing how to navigate through that in as healthy of a way as possible, and knowing how to minimize the negative long-term impact. So it is okay that you have been struggling, and we are here if you need to talk. Hopefully, like I said, we'll bring your vibes a little up. But thank you for sharing your positive energy and vibes and love with us as well. I agree. Life of Nate, the news is exhausting. I go outside a lot. I just walk outside. Michael says, I write music and sing as part of dealing with my mental health. You know, I have written poetry before to deal with mine. Y'all don't want to hear me sing. Well, you'll get to hear me sing a little bit here in a minute, but you don't want to hear me actually try to sing. All I saw from George Castle at first was David Gapp's I Love to Cook. But it was David Gapp's, for me, it's in the kitchen, I love to cook. I mean, that could still be interpreted in a couple of ways, right? But I love the food, but strangely enough, if I am having a really, really hard day, by the time I get to dinner, it just seems like insurmountable for me to try to make a healthy meal, and I have to use it as a mindfulness meditation, mindfulness practice to just say, okay, right now I can feel my feet on the floor. Right now, I'm just going to feel the heat from this pan of boiling water. Right now, I'm going to cut up these veggies and it's going to make me feel better. So I really have to kind of take it one step at a time when I get in that mindset, because I'm a holistic nutritionist who doesn't really love to cook. I love how it makes me feel when I fuel my body with healthy food, and I'd rather suck it up even though I don't particularly like it and get those benefits. But I've got to fall in love with cooking again. Kaskayukan says, Makia, the adopted dog, discovered she could use the kitchen sink to sleep on. That was a great visual. I could see that because I've seen your dogs and I could see that. That's great. I love how a lot of people in here are saying they avoid mainstream news. I feel like that's the number one thing you can do for your mental health is avoid mainstream news. First time on live stream, Damien, welcome. I know that you lurk in the comments, so I know it's not your first time in the channel. I've seen a lot of your comments and responded and interacted a lot with you, so welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could finally join us. Oh, Lewis says, today I finished watching Breaking Bad Season 2 for the first time, and I'm very sad now. Laugh out loud. Right? Yep, I know what you're talking about, and I won't say anything for anyone else that hasn't seen it, but I feel you. I feel you. Lee Wesley says, a good thing to help me feel much better about myself is to watch funny movies. See, here is the dichotomy of Amanda, is there's a part of me that when I feel really down, I'll watch funny movies. But there's a part of me that if I feel a certain kind of down, then I have to just watch not necessarily over the top violence, but just some cheesy slasher movie or something. Really, I get in a spiral of watching kill counts over on Dead Meat channel. And it just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes I really need a laugh, and sometimes I just need to process my anger in a healthy way. And I find that that's really effective with certain movies. And I have to be very careful because I'm very sensitive to imagery. So I don't want anything that's too violent, or I don't do torture movies or anything like that. It's always just kind of cheesy slasher or things like Breaking Bad. I got into Breaking Bad, so I was that person that, with a couple of other people here like Lewis, I didn't get into it till last year, and now I'm crazy obsessed with it. But I needed something when I was going through my divorce that wasn't lovey-dovey or anything, and I opened Netflix and there that was, and the rest is history. John Doe says, "Unfortunately, fear/hate sells more papers." Yep. That's why I just don't buy into it, because I feel like if we would just stop consuming it and let them know that that's not what's going to sell anymore, then they would have to shift the focus of their stories if that's what they saw the consumers wanted more of. I tell funny stories, Damien says. Well, now you have to tell us a funny story, Damien. You just put yourself on the spot. Charlie says, "Are you mental?" Yes, I even have shirts that announce it. So if you guys want to announce that you are also mental with me and start a conversation with people outside of the YouTube realm, the shirts are really effective. Everyone I know that has gotten one has gotten stopped and started conversations with these shirts. So that's why I created the store. That's why I created merch, is so it sparks conversation. So when you wear a shirt that says "I'm mental," people at first go, "Wait, what? Should I be concerned?" Because they're not used to the connotation of mental health being a positive thing. I'm proud of my mental health. I'm proud of where I'm at. Rick, thank you so much. I adore you. Surgery did not go well. Can't stay and watch today. No. Well, let me know if there's anything that we can do. I'm sorry that it didn't go well, but I hope that we can help you in your recovery. I'm so glad to see you here today. Mwah. Take care and try to just rest. I know that's hard for you, but try to just rest and reach out to us if you need us. Thank you for dropping by, and thank you for the support for the outreach and stuff. It really does mean the world to me, guys. I just jump on here because I really want to encourage ongoing conversation. And please feel free to tell your friends about this stream. I just want to give people an opportunity to talk about their mental health or to just be part of this conversation. It's totally normal. And this is a conversation we should be having with everyone. So please feel free to share the channel and let people know that every Friday morning at 10 a.m. we have this live stream, 10 a.m. Arizona time, or 10 a.m. Phoenix time to be specific, because we have 2 different time zones in Arizona. Why wouldn't we? So yes, please feel free to share the channel, to share the live stream with your friends and invite them over. Make them part of the conversation. Philip Weaver says, "Playing video games is my stress reliever, or just to use as an escape from reality." I, in the same way, but I don't like new video games. So me and my boyfriend sat the other week and played Zelda, the original Zelda on Nintendo. I have my Nintendo still hooked up, and we played the original Zelda. We still have to beat Death Mountain. We still have to beat the 9th dungeon, but we, from memory, we didn't cheat. We didn't use anything online. We did the first 8 castles. So it has been a really awesome throwback, but I love playing the old school games. I don't really get into new games because, like everything else now, they seem designed to reel you in and take a really, 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 really excessively long time. And if I want to play a game, sure, I want to get into it and I want it to take a reasonable amount of time. But Breath of the Wild, for example, I've tried several times to play it, and I have been trying to play it through, but I don't enjoy it. And I feel kind of silly playing this game that I don't enjoy just because I have this bucket list item to beat every Zelda game in my lifetime. But it's really frustrating because it's beautiful to look at, the music is great, but I'm not a fan of the gameplay, and I'm not a fan of the fact that it takes so excessively long. I think Bryson's trying to peep in on us here, which that's okay. Why not? He's been part of some adult conversations this week, so I think that he could be part of most of this one. He's really, actually, speaking of video games, pushing me because he wants the new Grand Theft Auto, which I think is 5. And me and his dad both resoundingly, nope, that's not going to happen right now. And he is wanting to do some of the online games, and we said that you need to show your maturity to be able to earn that privilege, to be able to play online games, because that's a scary world, allowing your kids onto a server where they can communicate with people and you really don't have any control of it. That's a really, really scary thing. Oh, Damien, I didn't mean lurking in a bad way, darling. I meant lurking like just hanging out on comments. I was just joking. I totally didn't mean that in a bad way. I love seeing familiar faces and familiar names. Let's see. Media is a mouthpiece for government, pretty much. I love all the love that we're sending to Rick. I love love. Angelic says, if you're a fan of holistic medicine and don't mind needles, find a doctor to give you an intravenous injection of liquid magnesium. I tried it once and made me feel like I was in heaven. Fun story about that. So I went to school and majored as a mind body wellness coach with a specialty in holistic nutrition. And I am a certified yoga instructor. And we were talking about magnesium injections in school. I vividly remember the story. We were talking about magnesium injections in school because, particularly in females, they can cause an orgasm. If you get a magnesium injection, it's called mag rush, is what the professionals refer to it as, but you can literally have an orgasm from a magnesium injection. So I believe that you felt like you were in heaven. I have thought over the years many times of trying that. So maybe I will go give that a try for, all the holistic purposes that it has, all the holistic benefits. A web. Hello, Eugene. Charlie, I'm mental too. Let's hug for best wishes. Eugene, that's okay. You can miss us sometimes. We missed you though. Philip Weaver says, I get lots of people commenting on a shirt I have that says, I have issues. Yeah, we have ones that say, I'm mental, my shadow doesn't control me, make sweet, sweet love. And yeah, a lot of people ask questions about them. I don't think I've had a single person that's gotten one of the shirts not message me and tell me. I have gotten so many strangers asking me about my shirt. And it's an additional way to be a little more social and outgoing because then you're not put in a position where you have to socially interact. You don't have to start conversation with someone, but someone might come talk to you and then that starts a conversation. And hey, who knows, that could be your soulmate. And if so, I expect an invitation to the wedding. Thank you, Yusuf. Edward, the shirts work for a conversation starter, although I do not recommend for a first date or if you're seeking a first date. I don't know. I think it would be awesome. I would go out with somebody that was wearing a I'm mental shirt, except I have a boyfriend, so that wouldn't work. Damien says, I'm not able to pay online. Don't know if I can request a song. There's lots of options, actually. So if you can't do it on here, you can do it through Patreon. You can do it through PayPal. So I don't know if you mean online across the board, but there's a lot of different options. David here can help talk to you about some of those options. People from Turkey in here. I love it. All around the world. All around the world, statues crumble for me. Sorry, now you have to listen to me sing again. Beerwolf says, I'm in Tempe in my 30s. Arizona State University has a pretty good inexpensive counseling program that meets via Zoom. It was helpful during COVID. I love that. I am in Arizona as well. We're practically neighbors, actually. And that's good to know about their counseling program because I actually do get quite a few students from ASU reaching out to me because a lot of them know I'm local. And I'd love to be part of that if they ever need someone just to perhaps offer other resources toward. I mean, we could always tell them about the stream so that they know that they can come on here and chat as well. So they have that professional Zoom and then they have a more social Zoom. So maybe we should talk to them about that and see if we can offer that as another resource to their people. I have mental health. Metal Mark says I have mental health. That's close to mental health. Yep, it's only a letter away. I love how I have a few people that are right next to me. Angelica's also, she's in Scottsdale, so she's right next to me. You are so welcome, Bob. You are so very, very welcome. I'm so happy to see you in here. Lewis, thank you so much for the snuff reaction video. What you said there opened my eyes again. I understood something important about my situation, even if I can't change things anymore. I am so happy to hear that. I'm glad that it helped you. And it's not always about change. Sometimes it's about acceptance. Sometimes it's about sitting with our situation, and that might be uncomfortable, but moving forward with it. So much love, so many comments. Like I said, if you really want to make sure that I see your comment, make sure to use that super sticker feature, because I can't see them all. I try, but I can't see them all. And I want to get to our weekly wins for the community. You know what that means. Well, I'm going to sing. I like to imagine that you all are singing with me. So if you have learned the song by now, let me know if you're singing this with me, because I want to imagine that you all are singing with me. If not, you can look up Legally Blonde 2 Snap Cup and learn the lyrics to it. But snap cup time, gather you round, friends and foes together, united and bound. Pass it to your neighbor instead of blowing up, and you'll have harmony and love in a snap cup. So snap cup is the sacred vessel where we share wins with the community, or the community shares wins, and then we just give acknowledgement for these wins. So I am going to draw these out, and we are just going to give snaps for our amazing community members and their wins for the week. So David is the first one I draw out, of course. So seeing people reaching out and helping each other and even following up and knowing he's a part of it here on the channel feels good and gives him hope. And that means so much to me, because it's been so beautiful to watch this community grow and to watch you guys have each other's backs and follow up with each other. And I'm glad, David, that that is helping you feel like you have somewhere you belong, like you have somewhere to go to and really be part of that and really be integrated into our community. I don't know how I would function without you and some of the other people that are so helpful in making sure that everyone here who's struggling is seen and valued and knows how valuable and lovable they are. So thank you so much, and snaps for David for finding his somewhere to belong and feeling good about being part of the community and watching us grow. Oh, this is a long one. Karina 007. We have a 007 in our midst, guys. Booked flight hotel to Vancouver to go to concert with best online friends. So this is their first time meeting, and this is the first air travel and concert that Karina has gone to since before COVID. Anxiety is trying to create worry about travel, but Karina's felt hopeless for a while, and this trip is giving something to look forward to. So, quote unquote, anxiety can kick rocks. Snaps for just that statement alone, but snaps also for you for working through those uncomfortable feelings. I say all the time, do it scared, do it uncomfortable. It doesn't always have to be comfortable. Sometimes the lesson and the growth is in sitting with that discomfort and learning how to get through it. I think that you are going to have an amazing time, and that's going to be a reminder later, next time anxiety tries to trickle in, those symptoms try to trickle in, it's going to be a reminder of, hey, I was feeling some anxiety symptoms during preparation for this travel, and I made it through and I got to the other side. So snaps for Karina 007. Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the support so much. And I think that you all are going to be really happy once we start talking about where all this is going. It is going toward the mental health outreach, but it's going toward a very specific, amazing project that I am so proud and happy about. Thank you, Erin. Mwah. I appreciate you guys so much, though. I really do. And I couldn't be growing my outreach without all of you. I absolutely couldn't. I couldn't be making a difference. This community would not exist without all of your support. Lisa, she ran away. Max Goddard took a walk instead of cutting, and this is a big deal since this is the first week he's avoided it entirely in 14 years. That is a huge, monumental step to a whole week. After 14 years, a whole week without it. I am so proud of you guys. Give snaps for Max. That's amazing to know that there are other things there that we can turn to. And sometimes the best thing to do is distraction. If you're having those urges, sometimes distraction or getting out of your immediate environment or sitting with the feelings holding ice cubes. There's so many things that we can do, but I'm so proud of you for knowing that you had these other options and utilizing one of them to make sure that you stayed safe. I'm very proud of you. So snaps for Max. I'm not seeing any snaps here, guys. Hello. I need your snaps too. David says, my favorite quote is life begins outside your comfort zone. Absolutely true, because if you stay in this little tiny space, you're never going to learn anything. You're never going to grow. You're never going to have challenges put in your way to overcome. And it's going to be really, really boring. And it's going to mean that you're going to stay stagnant. So you're never actually going to move forward in any meaningful way. David says, let's get snappy. Let's get dangerous. Name that show, guys. Who's going to name that show? Y'all can show your age with me right now. Dubious Jester made it through a work day without a panic attack. Snaps for Dubious Jester. I remember when I was at that point where I could not for the life of me make it through a 24-hour period without a very severe anxiety or panic attack. So I'm glad you made it through your first work day. That's a huge step. That's a huge milestone. And if you can make it through one, you can make it through another one. And if Dubious Jester can make it through one, you guys can make it through one too. So if you need help, if you're having an anxiety or panic attack, I did make a video a while back. If somebody could drop the link here. Good job, by the way, John Bubba, Darkwing Duck. There's our winner right there. But if somebody could drop that link, it is the exact affirmations that I used when I was having an anxiety or panic attack back in the day. It really helped me get through the worst part of it and get through the symptoms. George, thank you. I love you guys so much. Angelic says, true faith and courage are like a kite. Opposing wind will cause it to rise higher. George Castle says, it's not much, but I wouldn't be here today without everyone here. I adore you, and we care about you. We really do. And okay, now I'm going to cry. It means the world to me that you guys have somewhere to go where you know that you're loved and you're valued, and we'll get you through these dark times. I know that sometimes it can seem so overwhelming and so hopeless, but there always is hope and there always is another side. Sometimes it just takes holding someone's hand while we're navigating through that. So I love you guys. Eugene says, yeah, anxiety is a problem, especially when you learn you have life-threatening conditions and or scars. Yeah, it's a normal response to things like that, though. And it's just a matter of learning to manage it. And of course, that's completely reasonable for it to be there. And we can't will it away because, again, it's a natural response to bad news, to frightening situations or perceived frightening situations. Anxiety is a completely natural response. It's just learning to mitigate it and to manage it when it does come. I still have symptoms of anxiety on some days. Some days I have them a lot. I actually had a couple days last week that were really rough. And part of it was because I had received some medical information that was really kind of out of the blue in my head, I guess. And I've been moving through that and figuring out what the next step is. And it's nothing too grave, I promise. I don't want you guys to be scared. But it was something that really kind of threw me off kilter. And I understand how medical diagnoses or medical concerns can really stir up symptoms of anxiety. But really, the only thing I can do when I get in those states is just say, okay, what can I do to tip the odds in my favor? So what do I have power over when it comes to my health? Can I do things that are going to encourage more longevity? Are there things that I could do? Are there decisions I can make? And really just trying to put as much on that side of the scale as possible. Yes. Thomas Bailey says ashwagandha may help some anxiety. They make gummies. I have a latte that I make in the morning. Spoiler alert, I suppose. I'm actually going to share that specific latte on the channel here next month for Mental Health Awareness Month. But one of the ingredients is ashwagandha, and it's just stress-free, anxiety-free, depression-free latte that I make in the mornings that has a lot of amazing stuff that really helps me balance my mental health and start my day off on the right foot. Because as most of you know, I do not take prescription medication, so I prefer to tackle it from a holistic route. I was guinea pigged on medications for years and years, and I finally just said, nope, I can't do this anymore. And yeah, ashwagandha is great. It's a great herb. Caring does help even when people need the help themselves, but spreading the care is always great. Damien says diagnosed on the autistic spectrum at age 25. You know, having known a lot of people who are on the spectrum, I really think it can be a superpower if we know how to channel it. Let's see, we got a couple more here. Oh, I think we have 3 more. Richard Pizzera reached out to an ex for closure. They parted on good terms, but Richard has spent 2.5 years feeling like he let her down and she gave up on him. She hasn't answered yet, but just sending the email was a lot. Kudos to you for that. Big snaps. I know that that can be really hard. I have had to reach out to people from my past to get closure. One of the major ones was a bully I had in 5th grade that literally caused me to have a nervous breakdown. And I reached out to him a couple years ago, and it took him several months actually before he responded, but he did end up responding and saying, I'm really sorry. And I just didn't know any better at the time, and you didn't deserve that. And he said a lot of things. And I have another situation that kind of came out of the blue recently that I want to share with you guys here soon too, that relates to closure, but snaps to you, Richard, for being able to do that. And it isn't about her responding. Oftentimes it's suggested to write the letter and burn it, or write the letter and just mail it to a random person, or write the letter and send it to some person online. The point is getting it out of you. Whether she reads it or she responds in the way you want her to, you got it out of you. And I'll be posting a vlog here soon about an experience I had recently that I had to accept may or may not have went the way I wanted it to, or would go the way I wanted it to. And I will post the outcome and stuff. But I really learned that it's not about them responding. It's just about getting it out of our brain. So it's not taking up space rent free in there. When I was younger, I used to hide it with drinking. Oh, this is responding here to Casca, who was saying, it took me years to realize I was depressed, for I was in denial. The denial went on until I hit a breaking point. Opening up and talking about it was the first big step. Meditating was the next. Meditating's been huge for me. It's something I've incorporated lately, and it's been really helpful. But that's why I have this community, is because I think that talking about it and communicating is huge. And that sometimes can be enough. Just getting it out and sharing it and seeing that people care, that sometimes can be enough. But Dubious Jester was saying that they felt the same. When I was younger, I used to hide it with drinking, but 15 years clean now, the fight is with depression, anxiety. Well, snaps for the sobriety, and keep fighting. It is a fight, but keep fighting, because I know you have the strength to do it. Eugene says, I've had 3 of my high school bullies apologize to me over the years. I'm even friends with one of them now. It's really beautiful to move through that. Oh, no, we still have 3 more. To move through past that, because hurt people. And there's something in bullies that isn't right as well, that makes them feel like they need to externalize their pain in that way. And while that doesn't make it easier when we're going through it, sometimes realizing that and having perspective can at the very least make us realize that it has nothing to do with us. It has to do with them and their process. Jake Smith is learning to better manage finances. Snaps for that. I know that that might not seem like a mental health issue, but if you have ever been in a place where your kid throws hundreds of dollars worth of sand in your pool and you have all these things stacking up and you're drowning in your past due bills and stuff, or you just realize that you're buying all sorts of things that you don't need, or you just don't have a balance there, it can really start taking a toll on your mental health in so many different ways. So kudos to you, Jake, for getting that wrangled and getting that in order. I know it can be really hard, but I do think that it has a huge implication on mental health if our finances get out of hand. Angelic Storm says, my old sensei taught us, if you want to destroy your enemy, then make him your friend and you will destroy your enemy. Truth. I love that. Because then there's no enemy anymore. Jeff Assassin, going out to cousins to chill for his mental health. Sometimes you just got to get away, and that's okay. I had said that recently, that it is a-okay if you need to disappear for a while, whether that means turning your phone off, whether that means just disconnecting from everyone. Sometimes you just got to get away, and that's okay. You are not obligated to be present for anyone except your children if you have children. But other than that, you can disappear whenever you need to until you feel like you again. So kudos to you. I hope that you enjoy the trip. I hope that you feel better. John Bubba, I ran into a bully I had give me hell years ago in a bar. He's 10ish years older than me and gave me hell as a kid. I beat his tail so bad he was on the floor crying in the bar. Now, that's a way to cope with it. That is definitely a choice. There is a part of me that sees value in someone knowing how they made you feel. But then there's also a part of me that goes, is that really where they're still at though? Are they still at that point where they need that lesson? It's always a very fine line for me. Vought Vicar. With a push from Vought, his best friend asked out his crush and she said yes. So kudos to you for helping your friend see his worth and have confidence enough to do that, and snaps for your friend for having the confidence and for being able to do that and getting a yes. That's so exciting. Sometimes, again, we have to get outside of our comfort zones. We have to do the things we don't like to do that are going to help us grow and help us feel better about ourselves. And even if you ask someone out and they say no, that has nothing to do with your worth. I have been rejected. I think everyone's been rejected at some point. It has nothing to do with your worth. And likewise, I've been asked out by people who were amazing people and they just weren't right for me. And I had to regretfully say no. And a couple of times it cost me really close friendships. It was really hard because I had a really close friend that I found out had very deep feelings for me and told me right before I got married. And I said, I can't act upon this. I was single for all this time and you never let me know. I can't just call off my whole wedding 2 weeks beforehand. And we were friends for a short period of time after that, but he just couldn't handle seeing me with someone else. So tragically, the friendship ended and it really broke my heart because I really cherished him. I just couldn't be in a relationship with him. And even if I hadn't been with someone else, I just don't think it would have worked out. And it had nothing to do with him being good enough or not being good enough. He is, as far as I know, I haven't talked to him in a while, but he is an amazing human that's worthy and lovable. And I'm sure he found someone great that hopefully treats him well and that he feels not complete. I don't like to see people complete each other, that he feels like he is in a healthy situation with. I really hope that for him. David, thank you. Bob Simmons, question, do you believe anyone can be helped or is it possible that someone is beyond help? I'm afraid I'm not going to make it. Okay. Thank you. I did not see that. I actually don't think that anyone is beyond help. I think that sometimes when we get in that state, I say this all the time, when we get in a state where we're feeling hopeless, the symptoms of depression are going to distort your brain and they're not going to allow you to see the options that are available to move through the darkness. Because think about it, if you think of the depression like its own entity, it is fighting for survival. So when it distorts your brain, when it tells you all of these things like I'm not worthy and I'm broken and I'm hopeless and I'm helpless, and when it tells you these things, it's doing it because that keeps it relevant, that keeps it alive, and it wants to survive. But once we can start proving it wrong, once we can just take that one tiny step forward, literally one step, that's all it takes, that's forward movement, then we can start combating against it. I really believe that I really believe that everyone still has a chance. And I encourage you, Bob, to keep talking to us here in the community, and we will do the best we can to offer options, to offer solutions. If you haven't already, you can take my free 5-day challenge, and that goes over the framework of what I did to get out of the worst of that darkness when I went from being on that ledge to taking these steps and winding up in the happiest place I've ever been in my life. Albeit still struggles here and there, because that's human. Still hard days, but I've gotten to a point now where I'm genuinely happy. And if you haven't done that, you can go to happinessboost.life and take my free 5-day challenge. I come into your mailbox every day for 5 days, but seriously, reach out to David, reach out to me, make sure that you are reaching out to someone, reach out to a professional if you feel like you need to. You can even do that online if you don't want to wait, if you don't want to go in. There's always options and there's always things we can do. Believe me, when I was on that ledge, I 100% genuinely felt with every fiber of my being that I had tried everything and that there was no hope and I had to end things because everyone was better off without me. That is what I 100% believed, because that is what the depression symptoms had convinced me. That was the distortion of my brain. I was there. I was very much at that point where I felt like there was no future. There was no other existence beyond that pain. But please hold on. We care if your light goes out. And while it might seem hopeless right now, just take one little step. Anything that will put a deposit in your happiness bank, anything that is just a healthy choice for right now. But just know that if I could ever really give any advice to myself back then, it would be, yes, you're doing all these things, but A, you're not doing them with consistency. And B, you keep turning to all these external things constantly, but you're not dealing with the limiting beliefs and the thoughts in your brain. And that has to be combated to be able to move forward. These thoughts that are shadow or dark passenger, symptoms of depression, whatever you want to call it, the thoughts that it's throwing at you are distorted, and you have to start combating them and questioning them and being to a point where you can challenge the validity and the reality of them. So I really genuinely don't believe that anyone's beyond help, and certainly not you. You're here and you're letting us know that you need help and you're reaching out, and that is an amazing first step. So keep doing that. And like I said, we can offer support, we can offer ideas, I can offer what it was I did and how the changes I started making. Please don't give up, because we really do have your back, and there's so much on the other side. Go back and watch my vlog. David or someone else could post the link to this. Go back and watch my vlog about what I would have missed out on had I jumped, because there's so many things that have happened in my life since then that I cherish so deeply that I would have missed out on had I jumped back in 2018, in October of 2018. And I want you to see that, just so you can see a perspective from the other side of that darkness. Philip Weaver says, last year was rough as my mom took her life in July. I really enjoyed some of the things you have said. Philip, I'm really sorry that your mom lost her life in that way. I can only imagine the thoughts that that's left you with, the pain, the emptiness. I lost my mom, not that way, but I did lose my mom. And I guess I have two different compartments to delve into there. The first being, when I lost my mom, I'm just gonna be honest, I spiraled. I spiraled really hard. And before losing her, I believed my whole entire life that when I lost my mom, that I would not survive it and that I would end up losing my life to suicide as well. And I all but did that. I spiraled so far out of control into drugs, into drinking, into cutting, into all sorts of reckless behavior. And now I actually have the anniversary of my dad's passing next month and then anniversary of my mom's in June. And I kind of enjoy now being able to plan those as days that I can really honor them and that I can think about how I can keep their memory alive. And that's very important to me because if I was to lose my life right now, who else is there to share their love and wisdom with the world? And that's very important to me. But then about there's the part about understanding that we're not grieving them, we're grieving that we have to live without them, right? But the other aspect that I really want to touch on is when we lose someone to suicide, and I have lost several people in this community, in my life, in general, to suicide, the things that go through our mind are always, could I have done something? Why was in my case, I asked, why was I not good enough to stay for? Like, why didn't you hold on for me? And I thought that with my parents too, even though my parents weren't suicide. I thought that with my parents, but we have thoughts like this of, could I have said something or done something different? And the answer is usually no. Can we sometimes influence people who are feeling in that space? Sure. But when someone is at the point of contemplating suicide, their brain is so distorted that they're not seeing the love around them. And our goal is to try to open them up to that. But if they just aren't in a place of receiving that or of trying to be open to it, then there's really nothing that we can do at the end of the day. And it's absolutely not our faults when we lose someone that way. It's never our fault because underneath the symptoms of depression, they knew. They knew that they were loved. And eventually you do realize that through distortions. I believe that there's our voice, and then, there's the shadow and whatever you want to call it, depression symptoms, the other voices layered, but there's always our voice. And our voice, even if it might be really quiet, is telling us, even in our darkest moments, that this person does still care about you, but they might not be able to hear that through the screaming of everything else. John Bubba says, I've been there. It's hell being stuck in your head. Just got to push harder and harder to get out of there. It ain't easy, but it ain't impossible. Trust me. I know. I completely agree. Nobody ever said that it was easy, but the things that are the most worth it in life are the difficult things, the challenges. So we're down to the last few minutes here. Anybody that wants to make any requests or wants to make any last pledges toward the project or have any last questions, anything at all, make sure that we're getting those in. I see some requests for Linkin Park, Castle of Glass. That's my son's favorite song, and I really do want to do something special with that. So I promise that will be done eventually. Lewis, in my Black days, I had a quote about hope. Hope is temporary, but insight leads to certainty that is infinite. Whether one draws life or death from it is the final decision. Truth. Lee Wesley, my dad passed away 5 years ago now, so the only way when my mom gets upset about it, I tell her to close her eyes and just start talking to him like he's in the room with her, and it makes her happier. Absolutely, my mom did that too, and I always suggest a memory journal to anyone who's lost someone and just write down anything you can think of, not just the big stuff, but write down even the little stuff, the little conversations, the little quirks, and it helps keep them alive. And then whenever you are in that cycle of grief or that cycle of pain, then you can relate back to that. You're welcome, Vot. I hope I'm saying that right, Vot. I hope I said your name right, but you are absolutely welcome. Mike Bowman says, hey, Amanda, thank you for these streams and everything you do. You have a huge help now dealing with recovering in a physical rehab for my injuries and dealing with a newfound court case. I am glad that I helped in some way. And I know legal stuff can be such a pain in the ass. Better call Saul, am I right, guys? But legal stuff can be such a stressor, and then physical stuff on top of that. But I do think that it's not unmanageable. Just don't try to lump it all on at once. Try to break it down. Thank you, David. Mwah. Try to break it down as much as possible so that it doesn't become a big, huge lump thing that you're focusing on all of it all the time. Try really hard to kind of break it into steps, or if you don't have anything with the court thing that you can do today, then try to dial down the relevancy on it as much as you can until you can. Oh, Philip, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. I appreciate it so much. Oh, I just always get goosebumps. You guys mean the world to me, and I know I say this all the time, but I'm going to continue saying it. Thank you, Erin. I can't do this without you, and you guys are going to be part of this huge adventure with me, this huge project. You guys are going to be part of that, and I can't wait to reel you in and to really start moving forward as a community with this, because it's going to be huge. I will be here next week, just some awesome person. So I'm glad you found me too, Philip. Thank you so much. David, dang it. Stop it. Yep, keeping track of every day in a journal does help. You're right, Dusty Bones. Dusty Bones. I love it, Edward. We are here and many resources for anyone who needs to talk. Absolutely true. If you post in the comments to this stream, if you come in at a later time and you post in the comments, if you're struggling, we are going to swarm you and we are going to help you and we are going to love you, because again, we all care if your light goes out and you are worthy and lovable, even if the symptoms of depression are telling you something else. I promise you, you can overcome it. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you next week. Mwah.